Good morning, guys. Happy Sunday. I just recorded a whole intro and I was muted the whole time. But basically, what I said was, hope you're having a great Sunday. I know I haven't been doing these on Sunday mornings for a while. It's just been things going on every Sunday that hopping on here at 10 has been hard, and having something of value to bring to you, I feel like has been hard on a Sunday when that's like my only day to decompress, reset. I don't know. I just haven't felt up to doing this. And I won't lie, today's not that much different. I don't really know. I don't know what I'm going to give to you today, but I want to give you some kind of nugget of value, hopefully. So I think um instead of doing yoga, because I feel like you can go watch an old video or something like that. I think instead I'm just going to talk to you about mindset and something that has been helping me with my mindset that I adopted or doing this like probably 2 years ago inconsistently. But when I am consistent, it really helps me in so many ways just get through a day that I don't know what's going to happen. Bad things happen or could happen, but I feel more sturdy and even keeled if I do these things. So it's really it's two things outside of like drinking water, exercising, getting enough sleep. Those are the things that we preach to you guys. But eating whole foods is a huge one. I feel so much different when I'm actually eating real food as opposed to processed food and sugar and things that come from a box that aren't naturally occurring in this world. And there's so many reasons that should be happening if you don't see it. What I think, when you give your body a chance to not eat the bad stuff and you're actually filling your system with whole nutritious food, even if it's for a week and then you have a cheat day, you will feel the difference between how you feel on that cheat day versus how you were feeling the rest of that week. And it does take some time. Like just one day of eating the way you should isn't going to necessarily make you feel a whole lot different, but over time and being consistent with it, it really makes a difference. And I feel for me, it's my mental health that really is affected by that. That wasn't even the thing I was going to talk about, but the other two things I do is reading or listening to, I like to do like self-help books. It's just something that I started doing like 3 years ago, and it's changed my life because you only know what you know, right? To expand your perspective, you have to be learning from someone else, because otherwise you're stuck in your ways, your mindset. You only think what you know is true, this and that. So I feel like finding books, whether it's on Audible or on wherever you listen to books, Spotify, or a real book, to me, I like to do it both ways because I do spend less time now in a car, but every day I'm in a car for at least 45, 50 minutes. That's valuable time that instead of just listening to the same songs over and over, that could potentially not make me feel that great, because music has a way of like either really hyping you up or bringing you down, whether you realize it or not. But if you add value to your life by listening to something, it can really help you just learn and grow and be able to navigate this world a little bit better. So, one of my favorite authors is Gabrielle Bernstein, and I've talked about her before. I brought you one of her shorter meditations. I just really, she speaks to me more than any author I've read stuff by. And so she wrote The Universe Has Your Back. She wrote Super Attractor. She wrote a book I'm just starting now that I think is going to change my life. And I'm like hesitant to do it, but Judgment Detox, because I started listening to it in the car, and that's one that I think you have to be sitting down at a journal to be able to write out the prompts that she talks about. And that goes for any of her books. I've listened to The Universe Has Your Back like 3 times in a row, Super Attractor 3 or 4 times in a row, and now I've got The Universe Has Your Back as a hard copy, and I'm going through and journaling as I'm rereading it again. And it might sound crazy, but there's so many things in here. And I feel like when you listen to a book on tape, you might skip over parts that you're listening to, but something's distracting you. So that's the reason why I've re-listened and now I'm rereading it. But there's just so many things inside these books that I feel like I need to be doing in my day-to-day thinking and doing that will help me be the person that I want to be and have the life that I really want to have. And that's finding happiness and joy inside here. And like when I talk to you guys about things like that, it's not that I just know how to do that or know what I'm talking about on my own. Like I'm getting this stuff from these books that I'm reading and just bringing that to you. So don't give me that much credit. I'm just kidding. But Judgment Detox is about learning how to no longer judge yourself and other people, which we do unknowingly day in and day out. We judge ourselves for the way we think, the things we do, if we make mistakes or have made mistakes in the past. We have trouble, at least I have trouble, letting those things go enough to like set ourselves free to live our optimal life. Because I feel like I could get to the point where I don't even have days where I don't feel like jumping on here because I'm just like in a dark place. I think I've had less and less of those days when I'm actually doing the things that I should be. But I feel like I could get to a spot where I don't have any of those days. And like I'm not held back at all by my mindset and the choices I've made in the past. That's something that I really struggle with. So I feel like I should call this like coffee chats with Sarah. But let me just bring you something. So I'm just going to kind of read through some of my notes that from this Universe Has Your Back that maybe will help someone out there. And the thing is with all of her books, it's all about like having, I guess, attuning to the energy of the universe and feeling and seeing that spiritual side of things, knowing that the power is within you to like guide yourself where you need to go. And like it's all about realizing that fear is what stops us and love is what will get us to where we want to be. Love for ourselves, love for other people, like seeing ourselves in other people. When someone makes you upset or angry at something that they did or said to you, realizing that we're all one, and it's not always about, well, I'm going off on a tangent, but let's see. She also gives you a lot of prayers that will help bring you back like down to earth and just realign with that power that you have within yourself. So here's one prayer, and she says, your presence is your power. So whenever you feel like you're having a moment of like, how do I put this? You're having a moment where, for example, for me, every day at lunch, we have a meeting at work, and it's always something bad because it's an update about what's going on with COVID. And who wants to hear that? I don't watch the news on purpose because it brings me down. But having a go-to prayer, something like this that I'm going to tell you, can help just realign you with what you know to be true and just brings you back to feeling more positive so that you can go through the rest of your day and not drag everyone else down because they're down too. And you can be the light, essentially. And that's what I really try to be in my life and at work. So the prayer for those times can be, there's tons of them that she has, but I witness that I'm out of alignment with my power. I choose to see peace instead of this. So just something simple to bring you back to being aligned with the universe. Your intentions create your reality. So this prayer will realign you with the power you have to return to love. Because fear is really what takes us out of alignment. And meditation and prayer can open you up to the power of the universe. The presence of fear shows up when you're not relying on the universe. Your projection is your perception, so become aware of the fear-based stories you've been projecting on your internal movie screen. Your presence is your power. Be mindful of how your thoughts, words, and energy disconnect you from the universe, and know the difference between what it feels like to be connected to the presence of your power versus what it feels like when you're not. When you notice yourself disconnect from the presence of love, you can say the prayer that I told you. I witness that I'm out of alignment with my power. I choose to see peace instead of this. So, I don't know, like there's just so many lessons inside this book in particular that have helped me learn perspective on things. And I had a situation last week with one of my neighbors, and I won't go into detail because recounting stories, that this is also something I've learned, not even from these books, but from someone really special in my life. When we recount stories from our past that bring back those same emotions, it doesn't help you. Like to relive things, even if you feel like you're over it and it happened so long ago, you're just telling the story, but you don't realize that you're also like you're bubbling up those old emotions that you've probably spent years, maybe unconsciously, getting over, and it just doesn't help. So I'm not going to retell the story because it was a very emotionally charged situation, but I sat down and meditated. Honestly, it took me through the evening into the next morning to realize that's what I needed to do. But that's something that Gabby teaches, is like when you feel off and something's happened or you just aren't feeling yourself, like go sit down and pray or meditate. And you will, if you don't come out of that or stand up from that meditation or prayer feeling different, then keep sitting there until you do. But so in this situation, I realized after I sat down and meditated and read some of this book, it was just like it lined right up with what the lesson was. And that's part of the whole point of this, is like whatever you're going through and struggling with at that point, like there's a lesson there. So for me, the lesson was what we focus on, we create, whether it's good or bad. And I'm responsible for what I see. So we can see things as a powerful opportunity to learn and grow, and just embrace each moment, whether it's bad or not, with gratitude, and choose to perceive with love instead of fear. So I was afraid that this whole situation was going to make me really uncomfortable to live here. And I feared that that person was going to do something at some point to retaliate. I didn't even do anything that bad. But I shifted my perception to realize that it was a lesson for me, and that her reaction and the way that she was to me had nothing to do with me. It has more to do with the issues in her life that she's projecting onto me, and I'm taking it personally when I can't, because it really wasn't a big deal. So yeah, by changing your internal story, you'll be guided to new perceptions. Another book I've been reading that I love, actually 2 books, and these are books that like you could probably find in your parents' bookshelves because they're so old, or maybe some of you have these books and maybe read them or haven't. But Don't Sweat the Small Stuff is a huge one, and The 4 Agreements. So I'm just reading this, and like every day at work I'm telling my coworkers about it. But like it's just, so the synopsis is that it's in The 4 Agreements, the author reveals the source of self-limiting beliefs that rob us of joy and create needless suffering. It's based on ancient Toltec wisdom, and the 4 Agreements offer a powerful code of conduct that can rapidly transform our lives to a new experience of freedom, true happiness, and love. So it just gives you, the 4 Agreements are basically like ways to live your life so that you have that happiness and joy inside here instead of looking for it in other places. And just, I don't know, it's common sense sort of, but it really brings it home for me. So the 4 agreements are, first one is be impeccable with your word. Speak with integrity, say only what you mean, avoid using the word to speak against yourself or to gossip about others. Use the power of your word in the direction of truth and love. So like, yeah, common sense, but do you actually do that every day in your life? Like avoid gossip and talking about other people? Or do you really try to always do what you say you're going to do? The second one is don't take anything personally. And I think this is something that, I don't know, I've always struggled with. And like I was mentioning with that situation, you can't, like, nothing others do is because of you. What others say and do is a projection of their own reality. When you are immune to the opinions and action of others, you won't be a victim of needless suffering. Like, how many times in your life have you felt like uncomfortable or worried fearful because you were afraid that of what someone else thought of you, or how someone reacted was directed at you, when really it had nothing to do with you. Even if they are mean to you or say mean things, like, it has nothing to do with you. It's them. Huge life lesson right there. The third one is, don't make assumptions. How many times do we do that? Because we're afraid to ask questions and get uncomfortable. But find the courage to ask questions and to express what you really want. Communicate with others as clearly as you can to avoid misunderstandings, sadness, and drama. With just this one agreement, you can completely transform your life. This is something I need to practice. I'm always afraid to ask the hard questions. And then the fourth one is, always do your best. Your best is going to change from moment to moment. It will be different when you're healthy as opposed to sick. Under any circumstance, simply do your best and you will avoid self-judgment, self-abuse, and regret. And that, my friends, goes along with gaining self-confidence and doing the things that you say you're going to do. Always do your best. And I feel like for me, I can see that, like, the days that I procrastinate and I don't get things done that I could have simply done. And even if it's like cleaning the house or doing the dishes, like, I feel cruddy if I avoid those things. And if I just get it done, I'm like, oh, that wasn't even that bad. Like, I feel accomplished. So just some nuggets for you to bring through your week. I'm sorry this wasn't yoga, but I'll bring back the yoga next week. I need to do some yoga. I haven't been doing it, so that I can bring you something a little different, and I'll try to make it a little easier than it has been. I got some feedback that it's just way too hard, understandably. So yeah. All right, guys. Thank you for joining me. Let's just call this a coffee chat, even though I'm just talking to myself. I didn't tell anyone I was hopping on. That's totally on me. So have a wonderful day. If you do watch this, whatever day you watch it, I'm grateful for you guys. I'm grateful for all the lessons that being in this community has taught me. I feel like I'm becoming a better version of myself through this channel and outlet of helping you guys. And that's what it's all about, I feel like we're all finding ourselves through life, and there's different chapters. And I think before I had this position, I was in a weird place, even though I was doing a similar thing virtually. You probably know I used to be a Beachbody coach, so it was all virtual, but I was just stuck. I was stuck in a place of feeling like that wasn't really for me. And lo and behold, the universe has my back and brought me here. So thank you guys so much. Have an awesome day.